Before 2026 begins, you have a window of opportunity that may never come again. You have a chance to set yourself apart from the masses who will spend the next year making the same excuses, following the same routines, and getting the same disappointing results. You have a chance to join the small percentage of people who actually take action on their dreams instead of just talking about them. I'm going to share with you 5 specific things you must do before 2026 begins. These aren't suggestions. These aren't nice ice that might help you feel a little better about yourself. These are imperatives. These are the actions that separate the successful from the unsuccessful, the wealthy from the poor, the fulfilled from the frustrated. If you implement these 5 things, your life will never be the same. If you ignore them, you'll continue getting the same results you've always gotten, and you'll wonder why others seem to have all the luck while you seem to have all the problems. The first thing you must do before 2026 begins is develop a personal philosophy that serves you. Most people don't have a philosophy. They have a collection of borrowed opinions, inherited beliefs, and popular prejudices. They've never sat down and really thought about what they believe about success, about money, about relationships, about personal growth. They just drift along, accepting whatever philosophy happens to be popular at the moment, and then they wonder why their results are so average. Your personal philosophy is like the software that runs your life. If you have poor software, you'll get poor results no matter how hard you work. If you have powerful software, you'll get powerful results even when you're not working that hard. Most people are running on outdated software that was installed by well-meaning but unsuccessful people when they were children. It's time to upgrade. Here's what you need to understand about developing a personal philosophy. It's not about finding the truth with a capital T. It's about finding beliefs that serve you, beliefs that move you toward your goals instead of away from them, beliefs that empower you instead of limiting you. The question isn't whether your philosophy corresponds to some ultimate reality. The question is whether it works. Does it make you more successful or less successful? Does it make you happier or more miserable? Does it move you forward or hold you back? Let me give you an example. Some people believe that money is the root of all evil. Other people believe that money is a tool that amplifies who you already are. Which philosophy do you think leads to better financial results? Some people believe that you have to sacrifice your integrity to become wealthy. Other people believe that integrity is actually the fastest path to sustainable wealth. Which philosophy do you think creates more peace, more to mind? Your philosophy about failure is particularly important. Most people have been taught that failure is something to be avoided at all costs. They've been taught that failure is embarrassing, that it means they're not good enough, that it proves they should quit trying. This philosophy virtually guarantees a life of mediocrity because anyone who tries to achieve anything significant will encounter failure along the way. Successful people have a completely different philosophy about failure. They see failure as information. They see it as education. They see it as the price you pay for experience. They understand that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone to success. They know that you can't succeed without failing, just like you can't learn to walk without falling down. Your philosophy about work is equally important. Some people see work as something they have to do to pay the bills. They approach work with resentment, counting the minutes until 5 o'clock, living for the weekend. Other people see work as their opportunity to contribute, to grow, to express their talents, to make a difference. Which philosophy do you think leads to better career results? Developing your personal philosophy isn't something you do once and forget about. It's an ongoing process. You need to constantly examine your beliefs and ask yourself whether they're serving you or limiting you. You need to read books that challenge your thinking. You need to expose yourself to different perspectives. You need to test your beliefs against your results and be willing to change the beliefs that aren't working. Before 2026 begins, I want you to write down your philosophy about the key areas of your life: success, money, relationships, health, personal growth, work, failure, opportunity. Don't just think about it, write it down. Writing forces clarity. When you write down your philosophy, you'll discover beliefs you didn't even know you had. You'll uncover contradictions in your thinking. You'll identify areas where your philosophy needs work. This leads directly to the second thing you must do before 2026 begins. Set goals that inspire you rather than goals that merely satisfy you. Most people don't set goals at all, which is why they end up anywhere instead of somewhere specific. But even among the small percentage of people who do set goals, most set goals that are too small, too safe, too comfortable. They set goals based on what they think is possible rather than what they truly desire. Here's what you need to understand about goal setting. Your goals don't just determine what you achieve, they determine who you become. If you set small goals, you'll become a small person. If you set large goals, you'll become a large person. The size of your goals determines the size of your life. I'm not talking about setting unrealistic goals that have no foundation in reality. I'm talking about setting goals that stretch you, goals that require you to grow, goals that force you to become more than you currently are. You see, the purpose of goals isn't just to get something, it's to become someone. The person who achieves $1 million goal isn't the same person who set that goal. They've had to develop new skills, new habits, new ways of thinking. They've had to overcome obstacles that seemed impossible at the beginning. They've had to persist when persistence seemed pointless. Most people set goals in the wrong categories. They set goals about things they want to have instead of goals about who they want to become. They want a bigger house, a nicer car, more money in the bank. There's nothing wrong with wanting these things, but they're not the kind of goals that create lasting fulfillment. The goals that create lasting fulfillment are the goals that focus on growth, contribution, and becoming. What kind of person do you want to become before 2026 begins? What skills do you want to develop? What habits do you want to establish? What weaknesses do you want to eliminate? What strengths do you want to enhance? These are the goals that matter because they're the goals that stick. You can lose your money, you can lose your possessions, but you can never lose who you become. Your goals should also be written down in detail. A goal that's not written down is just a wish. A goal that's not specific is just a dream. You need to know exactly what you want, exactly when you want it, and exactly what you're going to do to get it. Vague goals produce vague results. Specific goals produce specific results. But here's the key. Your goals must be aligned with your personal philosophy. If your philosophy says that money is evil, but your goal is to become wealthy, you've created an internal conflict that will sabotage your efforts. If your philosophy says that you're not smart enough to succeed, but your goal is to build a business, you're fighting yourself before you even start. This is why developing your philosophy comes first. Your goals must be consistent with your beliefs about what's possible and what's desirable. The third thing you must do before 2026 begins is master the art of personal discipline. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's the bridge between inspiration and achievement. It's the bridge between necessity and productivity. Without discipline, all the goal setting in the world won't help you, because discipline is what turns intentions into actions and actions into results. Most people have a fundamental misunderstanding about discipline. They think discipline is about forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. They think it's about grinding through activities that are unpleasant or boring. They think it's about sacrifice and deprivation. This misunderstanding is why most people struggle with discipline and why most people never achieve their goals. True discipline isn't about forcing yourself to do anything. True discipline is about training yourself to want the right things. It's about developing preferences that serve you instead of preferences that sabotage you. It's about creating systems and habits that make success automatic instead of difficult. Let me explain what I mean. If you're trying to lose weight but you love junk food, you can try to force yourself to avoid junk food through willpower alone. But willpower is a limited resource. Eventually you'll run out of willpower and you'll go back to eating junk food. That's not discipline, that's torture. Real discipline would be training your taste buds to prefer healthy food. Real discipline would be learning to associate junk food with how terrible you feel after eating it instead of how good it tastes while you're eating it. Real discipline would be creating an environment where healthy choices are easy and unhealthy choices are difficult. The same principle applies to every area of your life. If you want to read more books but you prefer watching television, you can try to force yourself to read through willpower alone. But it would be much more effective to train yourself to prefer reading by choosing books that fascinate you, by creating a comfortable reading environment, by eliminating the television from your bedroom. Discipline is really about designing your life so that the right choices are easy and the wrong choices are difficult. It's about creating systems that support your goals instead of systems that undermine them. It's about building habits that serve you instead of habits that sabotage you. The most successful people in the world don't have more willpower than everyone else. They have better systems. They designed their lives so that success is the natural result of their daily routines. They don't have to constantly fight themselves because they've aligned their environment, their habits, and their preferences with their goals. This is why you must develop discipline before 2026 begins. The longer you wait, the more entrenched your current patterns become. The longer you wait, the more difficult it becomes to change. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But if you don't use it, it atrophies. Start small, but start today. Pick one area of your life where you need more discipline and begin working on it immediately. Don't try to change everything at once, because that's a recipe for failure. Focus on one habit, one system, one area of improvement. Master that, then move on to the next one. The fourth thing you must do before 2026 begins is surround yourself with people who inspire you to become better rather than people who enable you to stay the same. You become like the people you spend the most time with. This isn't just a nice saying